Okay, dear Dhamma friends, we have come to the second Dhamma sermon of this retreat. May you give your consent by saying sadhu sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Bhutamidanti bhikkhave yatha bhutang sammappaññāya passato ya vicikicchāsā pahiyatīti evam bhante tadāhāra sambhavanti bhikkhave yatha bhutang sammappaññāya passato ya vicikicchāsā pahiyatīti evam bhanteti. Dear Dhamma friends, as you all can remember, we have taken a particular sutta called Maha Tanhasankhaya Sutta, which comes in Majjhima Nikaya. That is the 38th sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. So this, as I said yesterday, fairly long sutta and touches some key features, key teachings of the Buddha's teaching. That is the Dhamma. Fairly deep facts of the Buddha's teaching are touched in this sutta, and it happens because one of the monks had a kind of a wrong view. Basically, during that time, as you can remember, there were no books, no internet, no computers, no any other way of storing Dhamma. Basically, monks were remembering Buddha's teaching. So, if in case someone is spreading kind of a wrong view, kind of a wrong connotation to Buddha's teaching, and it can lead to some kind of a confusion and kind of a wrong understanding about the Buddha's teaching. Therefore, it has to be very critical to have the correct understanding about the Dhamma. So, when this particular monk called Venerable Sati started to have a wrong understanding about the consciousness, Vijnana, thinking that the consciousness is ongoing, everlasting, it is passing from one life to the other, so it appears for the other monks that it is obviously wrong. It is against the Buddha's teaching. And the other monks tried to convince him, tried to put him in the correct track, but he was adamant and not ready to change his wrong view. So they tried their best, but ultimately they put the question to Buddha. Then Buddha invited or asked him to come forward, and with the other monks, he started to question Venerable Sati. So, and Venerable Sati explained that the wrong view that he was having, and even when Buddha was explaining it, he couldn't actually give it up. Then Buddha simply neglect Venerable Sati, but start to question the other monks. Very much like checking whether other monks are having the correct view. So that is what we are studying here, where now Buddha is asking various questions about the teaching, about the practice, and try to see whether other monks have understood his teaching and practiced his teaching properly and understood the reality as it is by themselves. It is not that Buddha is trying to impose any kind of teaching onto them, impose kind of an orthodox belief to the other monks. Rather, he is asking from step by step from the other monks whether they directly see the things. That's what we discussed even on yesterday. So Buddha is asking, did you have seen that things are coming to being? As I said yesterday, the question is not asking very much like the conventional terms, whether you saw that the Jetanarama exists, the other monks are exist, the furniture is available, the kings, other traders and all those typical things are available. Have you seen those things? It is not the question Buddha is asking. It is fairly deeper question Buddha is asking, whether you have seen that what is comes to be. Then the other monks answer, yes, Bhante. So we discuss somewhat in length that what Buddha meant here. So basically we have taken one simple example, what we are typically engaged with, that is with the in-breath and out-breath breathing meditation. So there also at the beginning we see in-breath and out-breath. So that is still in the conventional level. So in-breath is a name that we have given to a certain process. Out-breath is a name given to a certain process. But we forget the notion of process, and we think it as an entity. In-breath is as an entity. Out-breath as an entity. And even go beyond in that, we think that I am breathing and I am breathing out. So maybe my in-breath or my out-breath. So likewise we can impose or we can introduce various other wrong perceptions like I am, it belongs to me, it is my life, it is my self, like that, various wrong things. So slowly, when we are going to penetrate these wrong views, how we can understanding it? So that is what we are trying to slowly penetrate, slowly see through with this Anapanasati. Say for example, when we are further calming down our mind and fully comprehend the in-breath, fully comprehend out-breath, it is no more in-breath, it is no more out-breath. Very much like we are coming to the very basic primordial level of feeling. It may be a rubbing sensation, it may be hot feeling, it may be soft feeling, it may be hardness. So likewise, we are coming to the very basic direct touch, which we can understand free from any language. So, when we are seeing that something is rubbing, when we are seeing that the sensations are available, sensations are present, we don't need any kind of language, someone else to come and show us, but rather we can directly understand it, we can directly feel it, and we can directly realize it. So therefore it is very necessary for us to have this kind of a direct touch with the experience. Not coming from a book, not as a blind faith, but as a direct experience. So that is really encouraged in Dhamma. Suppose one succeeds and he is now fully aware. Now at this very moment, his mind is well composed, well concentrated, and he is looking at kind of a rubbing sensation, kind of a hotness, kind of a softness, kind of a stiffness, kind of a hardness. And he very well aware it was not there at the beginning. And now it is slowly appearing. And it is coming to its peak. And then it's slowly fading away, slowly disappearing. And again there is nothing. That is what in the certain other places in Dhamma it is mentioned, ahutva sambunti hutva pativenti. It was nothing available at the beginning, now it is available. And once it is available, then it fades away. So again and again we can feel it. And even in walking meditation, we can feel it. Say we are walking step by step. As your left foot is touching the ground, you can understand you at the before it touched, you didn't have any kind of feeling about the earth, ground. But once it is touching, you can immediately see there is the feeling, there is the hardness, there is softness, there is dryness, there is wetness. So whatever such property, you can immediately feel, you can immediately understand, you can immediately cognize. It was not there before, and now it is available. As when the foot touching the ground, and when we are lifting it, it disappears. So these things are really available. It was not there, now available. And once available, they disappear. And these are kind of cause and effect. And immediately when these things are available, we can feel it. We can cognize it. So as we discussed even on yesterday, so when we are fully with it, neglecting all the past and the future, fully concentrated, well composed, and without any distraction. Mind is very quiet and we are utterly with the present moment experience. At this time, at the very moment when the foot is touching the ground, we can immediately feel, we can immediately know that there is the hardness, for example. And you can see this hardness is the rupa, hardness is the materiality, and it is causing for us to generate the knowing. That is the knowing part. We know it is hard. We know it is gross. So this knowing also comes. That is the mentality. So we can see these things are conditioning each other, causing each other. And there is nothing else, just mentality and materiality, nama and rupa. So we further elaborated that on yesterday. So Buddha asks us to go further. He is asking to see Tadahara sambhavanti bhikkhave yathabhutang pasatati. So monks, have you ever seen that? Have you clearly seen with proper wisdom that they are arising due to causes? So therefore, in a way it is kind of an encouragement rather than just merely walking, just experiencing things. So we have to have kind of an inquiring mind, kind of a little curiosity. What's really going on? Let's little bit go further. Let me understand it properly. How it is happening? What are the causes causing this process? So likewise, we are doing kind of an experiment here and trying to understand what's really going on. It is not kind of an analytical knowledge we are trying to bring here, or kind of a book knowledge we are trying to map here. Rather, we are trying to directly experience, and with that direct experience we are trying to go a little to the root and to understand how it is happening, how it is causing, what are the causes. And as I said yesterday, so different people may understand the causes in different ways. But still there are causes. It is not that someone else, some external force, external God is creating these experiences. Rather, due to certain causes, external factors, they are occurring. Those external factors are also impermanent. And they also arise and pass away. And because of that, the resultants, the results, effects are also impermanent and arising and passing away. So yesterday we discussed that it is appear even as a kind of an insight that while we are observing, so we can immediately might understand, oh, it is happening because of this. There are certain causes. These causes are conditioning this experience. So likewise, kind of an insight, kind of a sudden understanding can happen in a quietly observing mind. So it is our direct understanding. It is not because that Buddha is telling it. It is not because a particular sutta is telling it. It is not because a monk is telling it. But we are rather observing by our own, and immediately we understood directly. So that is very well encouraged by Buddha. So if we go little further today, so as we go on, so we can see that now there are various properties, various characteristics. As we are experiencing, say for example walking, so we can see hardness, we can experience softness, we can experience dryness, we can experience stiffness. So likewise, different characteristics are available. And suppose we are observing it continuously, and as we move forward, our mind starts to see certain common characteristics. Although these individual characteristics are available, different individual characteristics are available, they all have some common characteristics. There was nothing available at the beginning. Now any of these characteristics start to appear. Any kind of phenomena starts to appear and lasts only for a short time. and then disappear. So this is kind of a common feature, what we call as Sankata Lakkana. Kind of a momentary existence is there. It was not there, now it is happening, now it is occurring, arising, and lasts for a short time, and then it disappears. Similarly, as we further go experience these things more and more, so we can see even more common that this lasting, this kind of a existence is so short. It is very much like arising and then passing away, appearing and then disappearing, arising and passing away. So it is common to everything, arising and passing away. So we are now not much bothered about various names. Is it hardness or softness or roughness or stiffness or whatever thing? We are not much even bothered to see these things. Rather, mind is so interested or so captivated by this arising and passing away. So Buddha at many places emphasize it, telling samudaya dhammanupasseva kayasmin viharati, vaya dhammanupasseva kayasmin viharati. So the practitioner starts to see these various phenomena. They are arising. Again and again they are arising. Again the practitioner says they are passing away. Again and again they are passing away. Then he might see samudaya vaya dhammanupasseva kayasmin viharati. So they are arising and passing away. Various factors, various phenomena, they are arising and passing away. And different characteristics are there. It's true, but everything, for everyone, it is common that they are arising and passing away. They are appearing and disappearing. So this happens, this knowledge happens as a fairly profound understanding, and it is in Dhamma, it is even mentioned as a knowledge, vipassana knowledge, as udaya vaya jnana. So where one's mind is fully understanding this arising and passing away. So it is quite necessary to have this inquiring mind, which is so interested to feel these things, even the feelings. It may be a pleasurable feeling, it may be a painful feeling, it may be a neutral feeling. So typically, we are not interested in seeing arising and passing away. Whenever a pleasurable feeling arises, we typically get caught by it. We like to have it. We want to own it. We want to possess it. We want to keep it for a long time, as much as possible. So that is what happens when a pleasurable feeling arises. When a painful feeling arises, we want to get rid of immediately. And we want to get away from it. And we don't like to have it. So that is what when we are going through a painful feeling. And if it is a neutral feeling, we don't even bother to look at it. It's very much ignorant about it. But the real practitioner is so keen on looking at these things. He's trying to learn from these things. Even the pleasurable feelings, he's not trying to hold. Even the painful feelings, he's not trying to get rid of. And even the neutral feelings, he's not ignorant, but rather very inquisitive, really interested about learning from these feelings. So various pleasurable feelings are arising, and he's looking at them, how they are arising, what are the causes, and how they are changing, and how they are passing away. Painful feelings are arising, and he is keen on looking at them. He has some patience with these painful feelings, and he doesn't have an attitude to get rid of them. Because of my observation, let these painful feelings go away quickly. He doesn't have such kind of an attitude. Rather, he is very much keen on learning from these even painful feelings. And the neutral feelings, how they are arising, what are the causes? Are they staying for longer? Or are they also quickly passing away? So he is searching, he is investigating even the feelings. Maybe even the thoughts. There are various kind of thoughts arising in our mind. Typically, we consider them belongs to us. So we consider that whenever a thought arises in our mind, I have to behave according to that. I have to act according to that. So that is the normal, deluded understanding we have, deluded wrong view we have. But as a practitioner, when you are looking at your own mind, one may not have such kind of an attitude. Rather, when mind gets occupied with a thought, it is merely a thought. It is just a thought. It may be a lustful thought, maybe a aversion, it may be hatred, maybe an anger. Doesn't matter. He's trying to see what are the properties of it. Does it arising? Does it passing away? Is it changing? Is it has that common characteristic? Like I explained, even for the materiality, say hardness, it has a beginning. It has some momentary state and then it disappears, pass away. Similarly, even to a thought, it also has its beginning. It also has some short existence and it also will fade away. If not, we are forcing it. If not, we are strengthening it. If not, we are feeding it. So we are the ones actually feeding it. We are the ones strengthening them. But if we simply observe them like an outsider, that thoughts are appearing and then they are disappearing. And even various mental states. We may have a kind of a good mood and it is appearing and it lasts for a while and it disappears. Then another mood might arise. It also appear, it may last for a while and it disappear. So likewise, we are now observing various phenomena. It either be a materiality, it could be feelings, and it could be even thoughts or even mental states. All these things have some common characteristic, that is, all they are arising and all are passing away. So this is, in a way, it's a really profound understanding of the teaching, and more we need to look at it. It may take time. It is not enough to see just one phenomena arising and passing away. It may be again and again, seeing these things, understanding these things, educating the mind, very much like educating a child. We have to show these things to the mind, because mind grasps things, mind hold on to things, and mind hold on to wrong views. Therefore, Buddha says, typically, we have two wrong views. The world at large has two wrong views. He mentions that in another sutta called Kacchanagotta Sutta. One venerable called Kacchana approached Buddha and asked, what is Sammaditthi? What is the right view? Then Buddha says, Dvenisito ko ayam Kacchana loko ye bhuyena attitancheva nattitancha. Kacchana, this world, the large majority of the world, humans, devas, they are holding two extremes. Attitancha. Everything exists. Or nattitancha. Nothing exists. So if we little consider these two extremes, when we see things conventionally, without any kind of penetration, simply with our eye, the visible eye, this faculty eye, we are simply watching the world. It appears everything exists. So we can see human, we can see various forms, various sounds, various smells, various tastes, various tangible sensations, various thoughts. Everything exists. And even if we come little more conventional level, so we can see Sri Lanka, we can see Muslims, we can see Sinhalese, we can see Tamils, we can see males, we can see females, and we give even names. And we can see different names. So you all have different names. And when we are looking at every others, so we can give, okay, she's here, A is here, B is here, C is here. So likewise we have various names. So it appears like all these things exist. So majority of us are in this extreme. So we see things that everything exists. And right now they are existing. And even before this present moment, they existed. And in the future also they exist. For example, say when you are talking about your home, for example. So right now you are at Kalalgoda, but you think that your home exists. Right now, even in the present moment. And yesterday also it was existed. And tomorrow also it will exist. So it's very much like existing. So this is the kind of a typical understanding we have. So you can think little bit on this line and see how we are typically thinking, how we typically understand about the world. So we see, okay, I have a car, so my car exists right now. Yesterday also it was there. Even previous month I had it. And today also I have it. Tomorrow also I have it. And in another month also I will have it. So we have kind of a continuity. And for me it is existing forever. So very much like this, so we are coming to the kind of a wrong view that everything exists. Then Buddha says that another part of the world says that nothing exists. So people go to another extreme, kind of outreaching, thinking that nothing exists. Everything is mind-made. Everything is an illusion. Everything is mind-made. Nothing exists. So that's another extreme. So Buddha says that these two are the extremes. And what happens when someone sees things as they truly are? In this particular sutta, in Kacchanagotta Sutta, Buddha says that when one sees directly with a fairly concentrated mind, without any distraction, with a well-focused, undeluded mind, that he can see things were not there at the beginning, now they are appearing. The very basic primordial qualities are now arising. I couldn't feel hardness before I touch my foot. But immediately when touching the foot, when the foot is touching the ground, immediately I can feel the hardness. Immediately I can feel the roughness. So it was not there beginning. Now it is arising. So Buddha says, when one sees this samudaya, arising side, so then he can't deny telling that things are arising, things are available. So this nathitancha, the nihilism, nothing exists, everything is mind-made. So that extreme will no more. Because you utterly see that things are arising. There are certain causes causing them, and because of these causes, things are arising. Various phenomena are arising. And then one may see that things are passing away. So when you again lift your foot up, that hardness disappears. It fades away. It passes away. So another, whatever the quality, what you are experiencing right now, when the other conditions are applied, it disappears. So Buddha says more and more one sees this via the ceasing, disappearing, fading away. So he can't say that everything exists, because everything is passing away right now. So you can see that now, so we can understand there are phenomena, they are arising and passing away. It may last momentarily, but most predominantly they are arising and passing away. Rising and passing away. So this happens like a really profound understanding, profound realization in one's mind. So even in the Dhamma, it is said, even a Sotapanna, the stream winner, he just clearly, by his own realization, he understands just this much. What is arising? It is subject to passing away. So you can see how profound this kind of teaching even. So one may continue his practice, and even Buddha says this will lead to further understanding about Dhamma. And he says, typically, like he said that the typical worldly being are thinking that everything exists or everything does not exist. That's another kind of a wrong view. And similarly he says, Upayupadanang chetso adittanang abhinivesa anusayam. So these are another way that he is explaining that still our mind, when considered the mind never keeps it free. It always has some kind of a holding. It always has some kind of a grasping. It always has some kind of clinging. It is not free. Now, if you can see or if you can look at your own mind, even right now, is it holding to anything? Is it grasping anything? Is it clinging to anything? So that is what Buddha asks us to check every time. What is the state of my mind right now? Is it holding on to anything? Is it grasping? Is it clinging to anything? Typically, our minds are clinging to something. Typically, our minds are holding on to something. Typically, our minds are grasping. So that is why upadanam. Typically, the majority of the world, the beings, their minds are grasping to at least to something. So it is not free. And even if it is not very strong, hasn't come to the upadana, hasn't come to the clinging state, at least still it holds to some kind of an object, even softly. Mind is occupied with something. Never free. It is always occupied with something. And then, not only that, sometimes we are occupying our minds with certain views. So we strongly hold to certain views. Okay, I believe this will happen like this. This is my understanding. This is my view. So likewise, we all have different views. So we even fight for that. And even people killing each other because of their views. So if one part of the world or one part of the country believe in one view and another part of the country believe in another view, these two parts are getting to war. Because of just a view. And one group of people holding one view. So they may believe, okay, this is a particular color. Another group may say it is not that color, it's another color. So these two groups start to fight. So you can understand, if even today, how many people are fighting each other because of this kind of views in the mind. Actually, animals don't have this kind of fighting. But only the human beings killing each other even for a view. One group of people holding one view, another group of people having a different view, they even fight each other. So you can see how true Buddha is telling that because of this craving, because of this wrong view, that our minds are well occupied. Our minds are holding those views tightly. We don't like to give it up. We are not flexible to give it up. Our minds are very strongly holding various kinds of views. And even if we are trying to release ourselves from these things, still our minds are conditioned by our kind of habitual tendencies. So even when we understand our minds are necessary to have some kind of freedom, let me have some kind of free mind, let me free from all clinging, let my mind be free from defilements, let my mind have some kind of deliverance. So even if we are trying to do that, then one may still can understand it is working according to some kind of an agenda. Even though I don't like it, even though I don't want it, still it is operating according to its own agenda. Say when a particular form is seen, so naturally may be anger rising. So right now I may not have any kind of a wrong feeling with that particular object, maybe a particular person, but naturally as a habit, as a habitual tendency, anger arises. When a particular visible form is seen, naturally, habitually, lust arises. When a particular form is seen, naturally, habitually, it gets deluded. So likewise, we can see our mind, even when we are not holding on to something, even when we are not grasping something, even when we are trying to keep it free, still it is operating according to its own agenda. Still it is operating according to its own hidden habitual tendencies. So that is what Buddha says, the anusaya. So we can see Buddha says that this is how the majority or at large the people's minds are occupied. Either it is occupied because of craving, it is holding on to something because of craving. If it is not so strong craving, still it is occupied with some kind of a subtle object. It is not utterly free. Or it may be occupied with kind of a view, kind of a viewpoint. Or it may be operating according to a habitual tendency, which we have habituated the long past. So more and more, Buddha is asking us to see these things. So we are going fairly deeper. So Buddha telling us to see, to understand these things clearly. Actually, more and more we understand these things, then the right view matures. Then the right view becomes more and more available for us. The one with the right view, try not to hold anything. Try not to grasp anything. Try not to cling anything. But still, because of the habitual tendencies, still because of the previous habits, it may go and cling to something. But once it's clung to it, we understanding it. We establish mindfulness and try to release the mind. It again may go and hold to something, and again we establish mindfulness and release the mind. So that is the practice. Panchupadanakkhandha aniccato yoniso manasikātabba. Whenever we grasp any kind of aggregate, we need to understanding it at that very moment and release the mind. By seeing it impermanent, seeing that holding is producing some kind of stress, some kind of tension, some kind of unsatisfactoriness, then it is a guideline to release. No point of holding on to anything. And again, when we are holding on to something, when it is behaving on the way it like, not the way we like, then we understand what's the point of holding on to something which is behaving according to its own way, not according to my own wish. Then we tempt to release it. So more and more, it is like releasing our hand, keeping the mind free. And that is why Buddha says in this particular sutta, the one with the correct view, he is not holding on to anything tightly. He likes to keep his mind utterly free. He doesn't want to suffer. Whenever mind attaches, whenever mind holds, whenever mind grasps, it starts to suffer. It undergoes some kind of stress. And when it is undergoing some kind of stress, he understands. Then he releases. So, that's where Buddha says, the one with the right understanding, na upeti, na upadiyati, naditthati, attameti. So even when mind clungs to it, he understands it is not me. I am not holding to anything. But because of this tendency in the mind, it is still holding. I better release it now. When mind get occupied with a certain object, he understands this is not I am doing it. I don't want to have it. Such kind of a object in the mind occupied. And he kind of disclaim it. And he simply release it. And he doesn't have any kind of mental standpoints. He not strongly hold to any kind of strong view. Even the right view he is not strongly holding. We can touch that later in this sutta. And more and more, as we see things clearly, so this kind of a dispassion, this kind of a disengagement, this kind of a disenchantment arising in our mind, it is not happening within a day. It may not happen within a week. It may not happen even within a month. But with several years of experience maybe several years of practice, once you look back about yourself, once you look back about your character, once you look back about your temperaments, if you can understand, I was a person like this. I was holding strongly to certain views. I have fighted with others just because of certain different views, because of certain attitudes. But right now, I am not doing like that. I understand my foolishness. I understand how wrong I am. How much flexible I have to be. And what's the point of holding to strong views? So if you are having this kind of attitude, if you are having a mind which is trying to be free, not holding on to anything, and not going into fight, not going into conflicts, so that means we are improving. That means we are progressing in the path. That means we are progressing in vipassana. So when Buddha explains this, and more monks actually understand that Buddha is telling that as a practice, we have to see things as they truly are by ourselves. It is not that we can simply depend on Buddha's teaching. We can't simply strongly hold Buddha's teaching. Or we can't simply blindly believe his teaching. And he is not encouraging it. Rather, he is encouraging us to see things as our own experience. Not because he is telling, but because we are very sure about it as our own direct experience. So that is why he is telling, Bhutamidanti bhikkhave yatha bhutang sammappaññāya sudittanti. Now he is asking, again and asking. In a way it's very beautiful sutta. And again Buddha want to be very sure about the other monks. And he is asking, monks, have you clearly, precisely, very clearly seen that things are arising and passing away? Then the monks are answering, yes, Bhante. So he wants to be utterly sure that these monks are not simply blind followers, not simply carrying kind of an orthodox teaching. Rather, they themselves have practiced, themselves have seen things clearly. And they have an understanding which is their own. It's a kind of a realization. And they once inquired, the monks answer, yes, Bhante. And after telling that, interestingly, Buddha says, Imanjetum he bhikkave ditting evam parisuddhang evam pariyodhatang na alliyeta na kelayeta na dhanayeta na mamayeta. That's another turning point in the Dhamma. Now Buddha was explaining fairly profoundly, fairly deeply, and trying to check whether these monks are really practicing, whether they have seen things clearly, and whether they have the correct view. And now he is sure. Now these monks have the correct view. And then he is telling, even this correct view, even this bright view, even this purified view, na alliyeta, don't adhere to it. Na kelayeta, don't cherish on it. Na dhanayeta, don't consider it as a treasure. Na mamayeta, don't possess it. So you can see, even this very pure, extremely maybe valuable, very profound, such direct view, even Buddha says, don't possess it. Don't tell it belongs to me. Don't go and tell others that I am having this kind of a pure view. Don't try to possess it. Don't try to own it. And don't cherish it. And don't adhere to it. And don't keep it like a treasure. So you can't even see that Buddha even don't want to possess, even hold, even the right view. He's giving a beautiful simile here. He says his Dhamma Vinaya is like a raft. He says, Kullupaman Dhamman Desitang, Nissaranattaya no Gahanattaya. So he is repeating this phrase in this Maha Tanhasankhaya Sutta after cross-questioning the monks. When these monks are having the proper understanding, even that proper understanding, Buddha says, it is like a raft. It is just for the crossing over the floods. It is not to hold on to. It is not for the grasping. So when even this purified, pure, profound views are not for grasping, not for possession, not for considering as treasures, then how about the wrong views? Then wrong views not at all worth of grasping. Wrong views not worth of holding. We have to have some flexibility to change ourselves. So in another sutta, that is actually in the previous sutta, Chula Tanhasankhaya Sutta, that is further emphasized that he says, Sabbe Dhamma nalang abhinivesayati. Nothing is worth adhering to. So you can see what a kind of teaching Buddha is giving us. Even when we are having real understanding, and he says, don't strongly hold it. Don't occupy your mind with even such right view. Keep your mind free. And he is giving us kind of a different taste, kind of a radical taste in his Dhamma. And that is the taste of freedom. So in certain suttas, he says that the ocean has one taste. But that taste? That is nothing but the taste of salt. The ocean, the water in the oceans are everywhere. It may be Indian Ocean, it may be Pacific Ocean. Whatever the ocean, if you simply drink some water from ocean, it has single taste. That is the salty taste. And he says his Dhamma Vinaya also has this single taste. Ayam Dhamma Vinayo eka raso, vimutti raso. So his Dhamma Vinaya has the taste of freedom, taste of release. So you can see where he is directing us. He's giving us the understanding, He's giving us the teaching, and we ourselves have to touch it, we ourselves have to experience it, understanding it, realizing it, and to kind of release from any kind of view, to keep the mind free, to keep the mind not holding on to anything, not grasping anything. So that is why again and again Buddha emphasizes anissitocha viharati nachakinchi loke upadhyati. So he is keeping his mind free from any kind of attachment. He is keeping the mind free from any kind of grasping, any kind of clinging. So this is something that we have to ponder. This is something that we have to keep in mind. It is true that at the beginning we may be trying to strongly understand certain characteristics. But slowly as our practice matures, the mind understands things and slowly starts to dispassionate. Slowly mind starts to free from the holding, free from grasping, and trying to be free from any kind of holding. And that is something interesting. That is something that we need to looking into. That is where he says, when one develops oneself to the Bojjhanga, that he has to try or has to watch his mind, whether it is grasping. If it is so, it has to be released. Bojjhangas have to be developed while keeping the mind fairly free, keeping the mind relaxed, keeping the mind dispassionate, and keeping the mind in the cessation. Viveka nissitang, viraga nissitang, nirodha nissitang, vassagga parinaming, sati sambojjhangam bhaveti. So that is how Buddha says to develop the Bojjhangas. So even there, he is hinting us about the taste of the freedom, taste of this release, vimutti rasa. So with that final note, I conclude today's Dhamma talk. So we have actually fairly profound parts available in this sutta, and in a way it's quite interesting and kind of an eye-opener about our practice. And as I said even before, it is true that our practice sometimes giving some kind of a satisfaction, some kind of a bliss, kind of a pleasant abiding, but those are kind of trivial side effects. But Buddha's teaching, if we are really practicing, taking us to a deeper understanding, not deeper understanding about external things, but deeper understanding about ourselves. In a way, it's an inner journey. In a way, it's an inner quest. So I invite all of you to join in this inner journey, to practice diligently and to understand Buddha's teaching. Thank you very much for listening.